I have more than 7 years of diverse experience in accounting, finance and investment, and other administrative services. And I'm also an avid believer in diligence, creativity, integrity, and professionalism, especially in financial processes and performance. So basically, for the next 5 days or more, I will be with you for us to deliberate on certain accounting principles and issues together. I know most of you are well versed in financial accounting, so this session wouldn't be much of a theory session, but will be more practical. So I would like to give each one of you just a minute to introduce yourself. You tell me the hub you belong to and a bit about your background. Just 1 minute. So can I start with Zehefi, please?
Hi, my name is Hevzibah Apia. I'm the accountant at iCode.
Okay. Favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning, everyone. So our accountant is almost here. So I'll just introduce him. So his name is Ben, and he'll be with you guys on the trainings for the week. Yeah, from iSpace Foundation.
Okay, thank you very much. Kwame Amamo Otu. I got the name right.
Yes. All right. My name is Kwame. I'm with Open Academy. Tamale.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. Friends, Bonney.
Hi, my name is Prince Bonney. I'm just here to observe. My accountant is here, so I think I won't stay here for long. I think Hepzibah is on the line, so I just came to check.
Okay, you are welcome, sir. Samuel Prince Junior Bako. Bit about you, please.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
I'm Samuel. I'm hub manager for Northern Innovation Lab in Wali Wali. My accountant is actually on his way, so he's going to be joining the call. And when he does, then I'll excuse you to continue. I'm just here to observe as well.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. Victoria Mabel Saki.
Yeah, hi, I'm Victoria Mabel-Saki. I'm with Developers Involved, the operations manager. We currently don't have a content available, so I'll be stepping in for today.
Okay, all right. So does it mean like he or she is just absent, but not that you don't have a counter, right? Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Really, the accountant.
Okay, so I'll move on then. First of all, I'd like to share with you the schedule for the next 5 days. So officially, today is our first day, and basically we're going to introduce this training session. And as I mentioned, it's going to be fully a practical session. We wouldn't do what is accounting and all those stuff because I know everyone is an able accountant or at least have a bit of finance. So, and after that, we will also do a needs assessment, basically to assess the needs of every hub. I wish that all the hubs are here so that we could capture in total everyone's needs. But then with the people present here, we still go ahead and assess each one's needs. At the end of today's session, a form will be shared with you via email. Unless I forget this, I would be grateful if everyone can share his or her email on the group chat. So kindly share your email address and contact, because after this session, some documents will be shared with you via email. And at every day, there will be a task for you to complete, basically based on what we've done for the day, and also to track how you've increased in knowledge, or the issue that you brought at forth has been addressed or not. So kindly, whilst the session is still ongoing, kindly share your email address in the group chat. Then we basically talk about financial manual for today. The reason is basically people treat financial manual basically is a policy that every organization usually have, and it consists of almost everything finance. Media group can also have their manual. Finance, every department can have their manual. So financial manual is basically the Bible that guides the finances or the operations of the hub. So today too, we will introduce to ourselves the financial manual, and then at the end of this training session, we will go deep into it, because it's one thing that we have to get right even before you think about bookkeeping, budgeting, payroll, accounting, software, your reporting, etc. So thank you very much. So today's session ideally will last 2 hours, and I will request that from Monday you get your computer and computer applications such as Excel and Word ready, because once again it will be a practical session. And also please get a reliable internet and power connectivity. It wouldn't be so nice if there are distractions and breakages here and there. So I will entreat everyone to have a reliable internet as well. And obviously a small notepad, or whether digital or in hard copy, to jot down your notes. And I also need your time and your attention, because we need to sort of squeeze and learn a lot of things within this time frame. So all things good, I think we are ready to go. So first of all, we will talk about the needs assessment form. So I will share my screen with you and we will run through quickly. Then I will ask every representative or participant to sort of just short, brief, concise statement. You basically tell me your need so that it will be incorporated and addressed as we move on in subsequent classes. So I will share my screen and then we'll pick it up from there. Okay, so can everyone see my screen, please? Can I get a response, please?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the first form that will be shared with everyone at the end of the class. So basically, I personally want to understand your financial needs. And as I mentioned, everyone is at least versed in whatever he or she is doing, but then you'll be able to communicate well to me your specific needs. So at the first page, as you can rightly see, it just demographics, just to get to understand and know you. So basically, your details concerning your name, email, your hub's name, the type of your contract, level, economic level, your key role, etc. And then other questions to follow up. So question A like this about your certification, and B talks about the body that you join, and about how often you prepare and report on your financial document. So, and also talk whether you have a budget. And then with that, we discuss how your budget has been able to help you achieve the target. Actually, it's not just literal that you prepare a budget and implement, but then understanding budget to works and how it will help you achieve your target. Then basically tell us how you rate the team who handles your budget. When you often report whether you have your financial manual or not, and who prepares that, and how will you rate your financial manual, and whether it needs an improvement. We also talk about bookkeeping and procurement structure. And you share with us the elements of your bookkeeping system, how you rate your bookkeeping and procurement process, the challenges you face with your bookkeeping and procurement, your payroll structure, how it looks like. So here, briefly describe your payroll structure. I think it's relative based on one's organization. So you tell us about how your payroll structure is, whether it has some benefits, how you compute your gross salary, all that, and you share that with us, and other benefits for employees, whether you pay your payee, when exactly do you pay that, the challenges you face with payee and payroll, the software that you use, you share with us the name of that software, how you rate it, the banks that you work with, and the services that they provide you with. All these things will help us right from start to understand your needs and how we can also help as an entity. And basically, you also tell us how efficient your bank is, whether they have been helpful or not. And at the advent of mobile communication, we thought it would be wise, at least for everyone, to also incorporate mobile money services. So we want to also understand how you use mobile money services in your corporation, your hub, and about auditing. You also give us a fair idea of your board of directors by answering the question I. Then you rate the overall financial system and at least some of the challenges that you face that you wish collectively we could help address it. So that's about the assessment form that will be shared with you. So I'll then move on to specifically ask each one. Let me go back to, so whether you are not the accountant or the representative here, you can specifically tell us your needs. I know it could be not too much into detail. You could just give us a fair idea about that. Then detailed information can be shared on the forms that will be shared with you. So I would ask, I'll just go with Hefe first. Your expectations, your child, basically your need, what you wish will be addressed.
If I get your question, you are asking my needs for this training or concerning the whole accountant thing?
The whole accountant thing, this training thing.
Okay, for me,
Because in
I
a way
really,
they are related.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for us, we don't use any accounting system software, and that is my challenge because I know that using accounting software helps in the recording of transactions. It makes it easier. So
Okay.
I wish to get an accounting system for the company to help me do my work.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Darlington. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, boss. Can you communicate to us, please?
In relation to my needs for this program, right?
Yes.
I think I'm really interested in getting a grasp with the taxation training, so we can
Okay.
handle how we do our taxation over here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Favor.
Hi, Ebenezer.
Yes.
So I think what we would need help with is a bit of training around taxation, and then a bit of some accounting softwares we could use. We already use one, but maybe if there is some that GTL is using, and we can explore other options. Yeah.
Okay. Taxation and accounting software. Okay. I know Mr. Bonney, I know Hefe has spoken, but you can add more if you wish. Okay, so is it Ransman, if I got the name right?
Yes, please.
Yes. Can you tell us about your needs and your expectation in this course?
Okay, so I'm an account intern at iSpace,
Okay.
and then I hope to learn something new. For me, it's always about the learning, like to get something new, because there are so many smart people in the world. So basically,
Okay.
yeah, I'm here to learn.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Prince, Samuel Prince.
Hi again, Ebenezer. So for me, I think my expectations revolve around, the general nuances of financial accounting, in the sense that the hub is still relatively new, and prior to now we have dealt with our finances on a project basis. So having
Okay.
an extensive partnership like this, I think, would allow us to be able to develop some, financial best practices for a longer term, as opposed to on project basis only. So that's really what we would expect to take out of this.
Okay. Thank you very much, Victoria.
Yeah. Hi, Ebenezer.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'm listening, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, the main challenge is with my help getting an accountant, because I'm doubling as the operations manager and accountant presently, but then for that we are working on getting one. And the other thing is that, yeah, financial best practices so far, sorry, we haven't really, we don't really have a laid out like financial plan or like something like that to help us to which we follow to help us like keep good account of our finances. So I guess this training will help us to learn and incorporate all the things taught to help us best keep our accounts.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So I thank you everyone once again, and I would like to also state that, I mean, obviously, all of us, I mean, have a significant knowledge in accounting. And as time goes on, it could sound or be like, oh, this thing, like I know already. Let's say if you are treating about financial structure or bookkeeping or budgeting or payroll, fundamentally, I personally believe everyone knows. So what I will also entreat each one of you is to calm down, even if you know. The reason is some people might be beginners, and I'm also sure that we have even advanced intermediaries and beginners among us right now. So let's assume we are starting on ground zero, building something, and this will even make room for suggestions and opinions and that. Otherwise, from the start, before we even introduce a subject like budget, I'm sure someone might conclude that, oh, I'm good at budget, I'm good at that. Yes, so that's one thing I also want to say in advance, so that when we begin practically, you make room for all of us and everyone to be at the level ground. Okay, so I want to basically talk about financial structure. And before we even step in financial manual, financial structure, I think, is one of the most important thing that we have to grab it from the scratch, because it's sort of laying the foundation of your financial system based on the needs of the hub. So let's say, for example, iSpace or Code Coast or Kumasi Hive. First of all, you will get to understand your financial needs, although accounting principles seems the same almost everywhere. But then some organization might be larger than others. Some might have more accounting personnel, like 4, 3, 2, some even no accounting, as no accountant, as someone just said right now. So the first thing that I will talk about is our financial structure. So first of all, it's based on the people involved. So let's say when you assess your organization, you could realize that you do so many things. You do administrative work. You do projects by foreign missions such as European Commission, GIZ, MasterCard, World Bank. You do a variety of things. But then when it comes to reporting, it seems that everything is consolidated and then presented to the auditor, who will then finally give the information out there to stakeholders such as your donors, even government officials. So first of all, you have to understand the activity that you are usually engaged with. Then you draw a roadmap, or sort of, I call it financial map. So, it can be decentralized or centralized. Centralized in a way that you will have, let's say you are 4 people at your organization, and you select sort of accounting lead, one person who sort of be the mother for everyone, that everyone gets information from how to do this, how to do that. But then when you go by this approach, it means this person should be well versed in accounting to the extent that everything wouldn't be that cumbersome in terms of computing figures and that. So after assessing your operations, then you decide whether to go by in a centralized way or decentralized means. So for the decentralized means, you dedicate, let's say, this accountant, you work on projects. Right? Although everyone sort of will have bit in contributing to the record, but you dedicate one person, please, we are assigning project to you. Although we will work, we will help you to work, but you should be the prime person that we will consult for advice, reporting, even a review before we send to our directors. If it is administrative work, this person should handle it. If it is getting information from banks, this person should be. If it is statutory, meeting statutory requirement, this person is responsible for this. So in a way, it helps distribute taxes evenly. But then because you have the roadmap, you'll be able to connect information so that everything wouldn't be cumbersome in that sense. So one thing that before we proceed, I will suggest is right from the start, if there isn't such, you try to create one. You build that roadmap and a chain of information so that reporting will be that easy. Also, so yes, so also hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so you draw that. So what the next question is, what if you find yourself to be the sole accountant, or even you are multitasking as an operation and at the same time an account person? So with this, what I always suggest is you either push your organization to have an accounting software, or then you make sure you develop a good database. So first, either you have an accounting software, because it will sort of be an artificial human assisting you. I mean, for a start, I mean, based on your finances, it's not like a must that, hey, this is the best solution. You're pushing your directors or managers to get you the software. No. But in the long run, you can consider that so that you have a virtual assistant who supports you, because it will get to that stage where things will seem to be a lot, and it might not help you with your recording and reporting processes. Or you build a very good database in the sense that if you're using Excel, you make sure you name folders very well. It's sort of, you build a chart of account. So a chart of account, in the same way, is that that roadmap or the entire map of your final accounting system. So it shows, let's say, your revenue, your expenditure, your funds, and others, list of assets, all that. So you can manually build folders under folders, and even with right naming. And I know for sure one thing that I wouldn't say as a general issue, but naming files and placing files in the right folders are some of the challenges that most accountants face. The reason is we are always busy. And when you get an email when you get a file through an email, you just download it, and there are a lot of things in your downloads. Then you not save it because of time. You're not able to save it instantly. Then later on, someone will request for an information. There you see, you go to search, and because we didn't use the right file names and that, search too can't really help us. And like, delays our time and things make so cumbersome. So I would suggest that with regards to naming your files to you build a pattern, you build folders so that indirectly you have your manual chart of account to help you with easy flow of work, future references and that, so that anytime anyone needs anything at any time, you can reference and address that issue. Yes. So and one thing too, okay, so is it Ransben? Yeah, did I get your name right?
Yeah, Ramsben.
Yes. So I will discuss with authority whether it's possible, and I'll share with you. But most definitely, you get the information. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And one secret too that I have learned over the years is the fact that anytime, let's say, your accounting year. Okay, I wouldn't even go to the accounting year. At the beginning of each accounting day, right? Let's say Monday, Tuesday, it can be daily or weekly. You will reconcile your revenue and expenses and your bank statement in a sense that it will help you track the flow of revenue expenses. So let's say you can even dedicate that to someone if you are a lot in your organization. You ask one person that, hey, every Monday morning, please reconcile in just a short Excel information. Just reconcile our cash at hand, our bank at hand, expenditure. If daily will be tedious, you can do it weekly, so that every time you guys will have fresh idea of the money you have at hand. It will even help you gauge your spending. It will even help you where this money went to. And even at the end of the month, when you are reporting, it's sort of like it's a routine habit that I've been reconciling my revenues and my both inflows and outflows, and it makes reporting that easy for you. So I suggest that it's one of the best practices that at least once every week, either at the start of the week and at the close of the week. Sometimes even our mothers at the market like doing that. You see, as for them, they don't really do that long accounting stuff. But before they will start the day, they will check their they will open their book and check and balance off before the day begins. Right. So I think this is one of the good practices that we can incorporate in our daily activities, and it will help us track our inflows and identify what we have to do within the week or within the month. So I will leave room for questions. Yes, then we move on to the financial manual. Anyone with a question, please? Hello?
Hi, Eben.
Yes, please.
What would you suggest is the
I think your line. Hello?
Okay, so I'm speaking in perspective that, like I mentioned, our finances on project to project basis, and so the project manager for all of those projects has been responsible as part of the task of keeping record of some of these financial constraints that you have talked about. Moving forward, you say that.
Sorry, your line is breaking again, so there's a cut. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Samuel. I think there is a break, so I couldn't hear your question in total. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, because of the network issues, so I couldn't hear what you were asking.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm listening, please. Wow. Okay, you know what? Kindly type. Hello? Samuel, I would suggest you type your question into the group chat.
Yeah, so I was saying that the prior to now we have the project is actually.
I would suggest you type your question in the group chat, please, because the line is still breaking.
All right.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
There's Daniel here, or Abuna.
Okay.
Please, I just wanted to ask the project on the call. Please, where are your accountants, finance people? Hello. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Kobna. For Northern Ireland, but our accountant is preoccupied and will not be able to join today's session. However, she will be present at the subsequent sessions. As I mentioned earlier on to Ebenezer, I think you were on the call at that time.
Okay, because this is a 5-day training. If they miss one, it will affect the other days. I hope you are aware of that.
Yes, we're aware of that. I'll make sure to relay what is done so that they be able to catch up.
Okay, thank you very much. Eben, please continue.
Okay. So, Samuel, as I was saying, please type your question in the group chat so that I address it accordingly. But in the meantime, anyone can still go ahead and ask any question he or she has. And we quickly move on to financial manual. Okay, so I agree. I can move on now, and there is no question.
Yes.
Okay, so we move on to financial manual. And as I said, we wouldn't do much theory and definitions and that. So I used two simple concepts to define what a financial manual is. First is the ability to write things down. That the whole concept of writing things down in a way makes things lively, put things at your face. It's just like you've written at your doorpost that, or on your to-do list, I'll do this. Or right on the wall. Some people, post their annual or yearly targets that. Yeah. So the whole importance or significance of financial manual is to make things live right at your face. Because as part of human nature, we are likely to forget things and even default our own financial policies. But then we will come to a realization when auditors and even donors and other, we are fortunate that all of us are not sort of profit-making organizations. Other than that, other investors too might peep in to get to know what exactly what's going on. And in a way, financial manual also helps you in terms of, let's say, processing or requesting for grant from maybe foreign donors or government institutions, or you even embarking in the project. Serious organizations will ask you to present your financial manual because it sort of communicates your entire financial system. As I mentioned right now, today's one will just be sort of an introduction into that because topics like payroll, bookkeeping, reporting, we will treat them in subsequent days, and we will come back to the financial manual again. That's why I want to introduce it now, so that along the line you get to pick along, like, oh, I need to write more about my disbursement. I need to write more about my procurement process. I need to write more about my currencies and exchanges, your checks, how you deal with your bankers. Everything goes into this. So first of all, financial manual helps you to remember things, to go against your own policies, and communicate well of you when donors, foreign other investors, even your own employees. Sometimes when you employ someone new, it will be best that it's also a good place to safeguard, to save time in terms of orienting your new accountants that you recruit, because everything will be based in that. So I will share my screen briefly and hit on key items, then we discuss them step by step. But I must say that financial manual is different, also based on the needs and operations of your hub. The financial manual of hubs or non-profit making organization would definitely be different from profit making. Financial manual of, let's say, GTL and iSpace would definitely be different. It depends on the fundamental notion is your understanding of it. So in as much as, let's say, I share points, general points with you, you can decide, but then based on standard practices. It's not like payroll, oh, okay, these are our needs, so this is what I'm going to do. No. Standard, beyond standard practices. You can't go below standard practices. So basically, that's about financial manual. So I'll share my screen with you. I'll share my screen with you. Please, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Yes,
I
first of all, let's do this short poll. Can I see by hands, hubs who already have financial manual? Okay, Darlington, I see Darlington. It's just a short poll, like it has no effect. So, so I see Darlington. Who else, please? Am I good to continue, please?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so it's fine. I mean, I'm sure by the end of this session, all of you will consider it, not consider it, it's part of the requirement at the end of the entire 5-day session. So let me go back to, yes. So these are subjects, not into details, of some of the subjects of financial manual. So basically you introduce the essence. And one thing too is, when you are writing financial manual, you should target your end readers. Avoid too much jargons like, I know, like, in a way, as for accounting language, is accounting language. But also try as much as, let's say, an ordinary, not too ordinary, but someone who is interested in your organization or interested in your finance. When that person picks that, the person will understand the flow of information there. So when you're talking about the responsibility, the person understands. When you talk about your paychecks, your this, and the person understands. So basically, you sort of introduce, and I mean, someone will say it depends on its ability to safeguard and manage effectively and efficiently all donor funds, right? Entrusted in your hands. So you also try to state that from the beginning. So, it will raise the eyebrow of your reader. I say, oh, okay. So you have this financial manual because it will help you to sort of safeguard and manage efficiently and effectively the funds that your sponsors or investors give you. So the person will say, oh, okay, now I'm interested in what's in the content of what the financial manual. And usually the goal of this is a sound structure of financial management and control to maintain both integrity and confidence. And yes, one thing about donors is that they in a way give money out freely, but then it's not completely free. They want to hear good stories. They want to know that, hey, this money I put in this is having an impact, it's touching lives. Right? So in a way, it creates that whole level of integrity. And you yourself, you have confidence, because if, let's say, for instance, I want to give you money and I ask you, how is your procurement like? I'm sure if you don't have a financial manual, and let's say you are two accountants, everyone will say something differently. It's likely, I'm not saying like it wouldn't be the same, but someone might say, okay, we do this. We invite suppliers to come in, we send them emails. When the person interviews another accountant of the same organization, the person might also say different thing, blah, 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 and that person wouldn't really have confidence in your organization. Yeah. So the implementation of this financial manual is very essential for the successful delivery of your service as you conduct your activities morally, ethically, and in the spirit of the public accountancy and transparency, right? And in a way, it conforms that you comply with laws and regulations and other practices that your organization is in a way meant to comply. You see, and the financial manual describes your policies and your procedures. Yes, so that can go into the introduction. The introduction should be that catchy. I'm not saying flattering and wishful thinking words and things that you can do. But in a way, it should have that ability to, because it's a long document. And especially investors don't have that ample time to read and all that. So that's it about it. So you can define responsibilities too. Who is responsible for this? How you connect with your CEOs and your directors on your board. What do you aim to give them? What is their responsibility to you, right? So before the end of this session, I will sort of create a rubric so that you will be able to answer or write your financial manual based on the question I'll ask in the rubric. Yeah, I think that one will be on a level ground. It's a plus for those who already have it. They can also share the ideas and that. But again, because they already have it, it will still be a requirement for them to present to us or GTL for us to assess and how their financial manual looks like. So about overview of your finance and accounting department. So compliance, as usual, you have to state that you comply with what? The general accounting principle, the laws of the country. It gives confidence, and you comply with what? Ethics and integrity. You work closely with your donors, everything. And in some projects come with contracts, and in that contract they state categorically what they require of you. So that can also go in there, although maybe you might not have started any project yet. So you can give one or two clauses or something just to reassure anyone who reads your financial manual that this is what you are up to. You are law-abiding, or it paints that good image about you. So basically about it. So about the overview, you give the general overview of your finance and accounting department. So in here, you can write, you can also incorporate your sorry, where is it? So in here, you can incorporate your your chart of account, stating your revenues, stating your assets, stating your incomes, everything. And your asset, liabilities, all that, and you can call it children, a mother and a children under them. You can all, that's when you know your department very well. Okay, so you can state your charts of accounting here. You can also talk about your receipt of funds. Right? You can state that this policy ensures that all income flows are what properly recorded and guarded through your separate duties. Okay, and you can also communicate that the CEO designate their staff, and they are authorized to collect inflow cash to your hub. So you can also communicate that. You can also communicate how you disburse funds, right? So you can also communicate in your under the overview of your financing account department. So let's say, for example, right, disbursement of funds. Some will say that, hey, in my organization, if the amount is, let's say, below 1,000, right, the accountants have the right to go ahead and make payment. Some organizations even give the accountants the ability to authorize payments on their banking platforms, right? So as I said, it depends on you. Some will say when you go beyond 2,000, please seek authorization from directors or your managers. Some will say beyond 10,000, have a meeting with your director, like that. So in a way, it gives a general overview of how you disburse funds. It's not like you are there when you feel like, hey, let me pay this person this amount, and you do it. Some will say that when it's beyond 50,000 Ghana cedis, there should be a public tender, or invite more than 5 vendors or suppliers. In a way, it communicates you well, like who this organization is. So that also can be written under the general review of your decision. And about the detailed financial procedure, this one you go a bit further. With the overview, they are all just short statement. With the detailed, let's say when you take your receipt of funds, you tell us how you receive your funds. Don't worry about that, because here I just gave subject, but the rubric that I'll share with you, it will have that questions that when you answer correctly, directly you'll be writing your own financial manual. But then if you have any question along line, you can ask. Yes. So let's say, for instance, under receipt of funds, in order to ensure that your funds are fully accounted for in your records, you can state the following strategies, right? So maybe you say that for effective control of your accounting document, right, your receipt should have a series of numbers, right? And maybe after that you have 3 copies. The original can go to your payee, your payer, sorry. The second copy can be your finance department, and the remaining can be in a permanent record in a cloud storage, or like it can be stored digitally or something. Get it? So you rather communicates to whoever will pick it up. How do you receive funds, whether from donors or your debtors or your payers or that? Communicate how you receive your funds. Right? You can also communicate who is responsible for receipt of funds. I mean, a whole lot of stuff. You can also communicate that you won't miss your cash receipts with your petty cash funds, where it will go, how you issue receipt for cash book, all your bank transfers, the original document, yes, in a way, it gives detailed information about your receipt of funds. You can talk about how you disperse funds. So I think we've commented on that too. And the receipt of goods. You can discuss what the procedures you go through in receiving your goods. Petty cash management. So petty cash management, you can talk about the petty cash voucher use, petty cash register, who is responsible for that, supporting document, and let's say the minimum amount of money which can be considered as what? Petty cash. How maybe the person responsible for the petty cash receives money from the finance department, or let's say from another finance person. Please, are you following?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Any questions so far? I don't want to do too much talking.
For me, I'm good. Like, I'm following.
Okay. I need feedback so that we can proceed. But as I mentioned, this is just the first phase of it. So I will develop a rubric with questions. I mean, really, I wouldn't say it's tough, but in a way, if you're able to answer it, you'll be able to write your own financial manual. Yeah, someone was about to speak, please.
I was going to say you can go ahead from my end.
Oh, okay, all right. Emmanuel, I saw you unmute your microphone. Emmanuel Mensah.
I was also going to say I'm also okay here.
Okay, all right. I want feedback from the ladies.
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay, Victoria. Is it Heffy? Okay.
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's about the petty cash, your petty cash management. If you write all these things down, anytime you can refer to it, even like when you forget, like when we get to procurement, we also like talk more about it. When you forget, you can refer and do the right thing, basically. So you can even define, if you have that level of knowledge, you can define items or activities that petty cash are allowed, right? You can say, oh, maybe for transport, newspaper, cleaning, small breakfast, stationery, water, meals, like birthday, that's for human resource, management. You can do birthdays for your employees, something like that. So you can define what goes under what petty cash. So that, let's say, if someone presents mobile phone or wants money for mobile phone or computer, you clearly state that this money doesn't fund what petty cash. You also define under that section how the person responsible for petty cash should report back to what the finance team. If it is one finance team reporting to that another finance person, you should also define it in there. You also define the way you replenish. Let's say you disperse this amount to this person, and you can define that, oh, okay, let's say you won't let the money finish cry, but then you can say, okay, when you reach like 90%, you spent right up to, let's say, 90% of the amount given, then what, you can request for funds, right? But then the person should what, account to the finance person how the money was used for, right? You can even define when, at what basis, whether it should the petty cash should be reported weekly or monthly. But then it's ideal that with such amount at the end of every week, it is good. Otherwise, I mean, the money is not that much, and if you wait for end of the month, you might not have a clear picture of how the money is being used for. Yeah. You can even talk about like how you cancel off, right? If the person, after accounting, right, and you realize that everything is on point, you can have that stamp, like stamp on whatever document, petty cash document, right? It could be a petty cash slip. Then you stamp on it that, hey, this has been cleared by the accountant. So the person not has the right to request for more. And yes. And that you can also define unannounced petty cash control. There are instances where, like, I mean, it's everywhere, especially when you find yourself in an entrepreneurial setting like this. Things just pop up like that. I need money like this, even when not budgeted for, right? You can have that policy or that clause that safeguard such activities, so that in future, when someone asks for money on a spot, we wouldn't say, oh, go back and make this, go to the process of what, requesting for this, da 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 da. No, you could have that exception, right? And you could define the percentage or the level of amount that could be catered for unannounced what event. So all that could also be defined in there. Fund disbursement. Yes, so you define the general objective, basically to ensure that your disbursement of money is and can be improved to the legitimate and what, transparent in accordance with the what, approved budget. We work with budgets. So when you come under fund disbursement, one thing to make sure that, unless otherwise, right, there is always exception, but at all times, make sure that your disbursement is in line with what, your budget. Otherwise, by the time you realize you've overspent a lot of amount on unbudgeted stuff, and that's when your director or your manager will be asking, what happened? Like, so in a way, when you define that in and you have that written down, it will remind you, you can refer, right? I mean, you can even assign a person, a finance member, to sort of be the financial manual shark, or let's say godfather, or whatever definition you give, so that the person knows it like water. Anytime you forget something, you go to that person to seek clarification. But then you yourself also has to know that. So you also define your what, disbursement procedure, right? So for instance, you can say that you can you can design what, a requisition form that will be used by what, all departments, right? I'm sure, I mean, some of you have already. If you're a larger organization with, let's say, media, creative space, maker space, business development, project. Some have project development department. So you can build this universal requisition form and you assign what IDs for each department, right? Each person based on department. So let's say Open Academy. You can say HP / finance department, maybe FD / maybe the person's initial, Emmanuel Mensah EM. Then the number of requisitions will continue, maybe 001, 002, like that. That is just assigned for one person under a department. In a way, it will help you track who is so in a way too, you can develop numbers for everyone except maybe your managers. You yourself can have a number because there might be at a point in time you request something from your fellow accountant. So literally everyone should have what sort of accounting number, right? For documentation purposes. Yeah. So this requisition form will be used by the department, and funds to be provided based on what supported document. You can say, if you make a requisition back with this invoice, if in our policy we said that amount above, let's say 50,000, make it a public tender. If let's say above 10,000, request more than 4 suppliers. You have to make sure that this person brings in all this before you go ahead to, let's say, seek approval from all your executive directors. In a way, I will also suggest that you work hand in hand with your directors. One thing I learned recently about, let's say, foreign practices, right? When there is a merger or acquisition or there's a new deal going on, mostly the director, right, or the CEO will never go there without his finance person. Usually that's what foreign practices, they do. They will go to the meeting with the accountant and their investors, financial analysts, because in as much as they are CEOs, the finance person or the investment analyst understands finance much more and better than the CEO, right? So in a way, you should always at all times try to work with your leader, right? Sometimes they might be busy and will entrust anything to you, and you might already have your procedures and all that. But again, try in as much, except for ordinary things that hey, it's your job, right? But then when it comes to critical decisions, you should consult them in and out for your opinions and their approval, and that before you continue. In a way, it also helps them in their strategic goals. They are more involved in decision-making, planning, and controlling, right? So trying as much as possible to work with them and also keep them in the known. And here too, we have this practice that we try as much as possible to share every information with each member of the finance team. So let's say we are 7 in the finance department. When, let's say, I send an email, I CC the director, I CC the manager, and you can even create a collective email for the accounts department, so that instead of just CC one person, you CC that collective email, and everyone will be in the know. So that's it about it. Obviously, everyone should have a bank account and how you go about it. And some documents, you can prepare a purchase requisition form, purchase order, a voucher, a check, right? Supporting vendor with invoices, goods receipt notes. And this too is very important to also keep track of your assets, right? Because that will also help you in your financial or your balance sheet, right? So any goods that you receive, tangible ones, you try and fill a good receipt note. In our subsequent classes, we get to know all these documents, right? And you could also fill expenditure report. That's when you give money to someone physically. You know, technically, financing, we usually pay vendors or our suppliers straight away into their accounts or either issuing a check. But in situations whereby you have to give money physically to an employee to sort of cater for items in the market, right? You know, those informal market like Mokla and that stuff, hardly you get even someone's email. So then an insider will have to get money physically and purchase. So after that, there could be an expenditure report form whereby the person will account who's bought, the amount, the discount given, and all that, and short notes, whether they face challenges or even the estimated price increase, something like that. It gives you a clear picture of what, and you even liberate the person from future situations whereby you say, I gave you this money and I trusted you and this, da. No. One thing I've learned in life is we should, in as much as, try to work with principle, even if it's your friend, in the sense that dealing with money is very complex. And sometimes people entrust money in the hands of others just based on friendship. Oh, it's my mother, it's my friend. Let me give this money to the person who handles it well. Then when something happens, that relationship gets spoiled. And so many relationships have broken. I don't know if you could attest, because of petty, let's say 100 CDs, 50 CDs that you give to someone and the person messed the money up, right? So I now strongly believe in working with principle. If even, I'm not saying your mother, right? But should in case you can do that, you have a written agreement that you are doing so and so, you are paying that. In a way, you are helping both of your relationship. Because should in case something happen, you should blame yourself, because it's like, you know, this principle works, but out of, let's say, friendship and that, you say, oh, let me entrust. And when something happens, you see that, oh, how you guys used to be, you're not like that anymore. So it's good to work with principles. Strategies. Okay, I will skip a bit. I'll move faster a bit to purchasing and procurement. But then if you have any question, you can ask at all time. Hello?
Yeah, we are here.
As I mentioned, if you have any question, like, feel free to ask at any time. I think we'll be closing at, okay, so, but we still have more time. Can I move on, please?
Yes, please. You can move on from my end.
Okay. All right. Another important thing that I want us to discuss is procurement. Right. Purchasing and procurement is very, very critical in the sense that we, the hubs, right? We find ourselves more in purchasing than receiving because technically our inflows are lesser than our outflows. I mean, even if in future your outflows will sort of your inflows will exceed your outflows. In the time being, it looks like we purchase a lot, right? We don't sell, we don't. Fine, we have makerspace department who does things and sell to end users, both internal and external. But the inflows are not as much as the outflows. So procurement and purchase is one of the critical aspects of your financial system that you should take a good look at. I'll always make reference with foreign missions, like the MasterCards, the GIZs, and the World Banks. They pay critical attention to your procurement policies, how you acquire things. They also want to sense whether you give fair opportunities to your vendors or your suppliers. So anytime they pick documents like this, fine. I mean, we've talked about receipt and what blah 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 blah. It's likely they also check in here your procurement policy. Yes, some of them in their project they would define what limited amount. Let's say with GIZ, right? Below 1,000 euros, you have the audacity to take purchases freely without inviting other vendors. Beyond, let's say 1,000 to 200,000 euros, you have to invite more than 3 vendors or suppliers. If let's say beyond 200,000 euros, it should be public tender in the newspaper, whatsoever. I know maybe we haven't grown to that stage yet, but it is important that the procurement aspect of our policies has to be clear, and it ensures the most cost-efficient and rational use of the resources for your goods or services that will be best served the organization in both the immediate and long term, in the long term run, right? So it helps you in a rational way use your resources very well. Right? And this policy ensures that procurement are conducted in a manner to provide open and free competition with all participants, and also in a way it gives fair idea to your staff. Right? Sometimes you the accountant will be the person to be buying the things, but then if you don't define it well, a staff will go and buy something, and later on when auditors come, now that you have to go back and ask the person, you cry, I give you this money, but I told you that above this amount, you should get 3 invoices. You should have receipt, and even the receipt, the vendor's address has to be correct. Contact, signature, all these things has to be clearly defined. And it will save you time when you have everything well stipulated in there. Let me see. Yeah. So I think I've already mentioned some. You can set an amount limit. As a small organization, you can say 2,000. Please go ahead and buy it. 5,000, please bring 3 invoices or quotations. 10,000, let's open to the public. Let's sign a contract. There you define you also define your what contract terms. Right? Procurement will help you realize that, hey, I need to have my contract down. If I'm supposed to buy what laptops or mobile phones or TV with this amount from this vendor, we should what? Write an agreement. The reason is today it might seem like, oh, this person is nice, he's our customer, but the time will come where there will be little misunderstanding and it can end up at the law court. Right? So even if the person is your friend or your usual, I mean, you can have that level of human communication that, I mean, in your contract that you will also sound too severe, as if say, if the person defaults, this is what I'm going to do to you, this, no. Amicably, you set your terms and conditions and everyone will agree so that in future, you can refer to that person amicably. Oh, have you forgotten we agreed on this? You said you supply this at this time, at this date, at that, right? So that in a way, you, the accountant, you safeguard yourself first before your organization as a whole. So don't worry, I'll create that intensive rubric for you to answer the questions, and with that, you are good to write your financial manual. Let's talk about check authorization too. So that one too, you can define who authorizes checks and what amount. Some only directors authorize certain amount. Even the signatory of, let's say, the account, directors also define that. So you can also define it. Check issuance. Who issues check? How do you keep records of check? Who compile all checklists? You can also talk about that. Who signs on checks, right? Make sure the payee, the amount, the date, the name, signature are all captured in that. Some too could have a policy that, hey, if you're a vendor or a creditor, we have this internal policy. If you supply goods at this time, it will take 24 hours for us to clear a check for you. Right? Hello? Yeah. Sorry. So okay, so I think the time is up, and the other topics are self-explanatory, and I'll share the rubric with you for you to work on it before the end of this 5-day session. So thank you very much for your attention and your questions and everything. And if there is time, I would ask if from the host, if I can ask 1 or 2 questions, then we end the session. But other than that, please make sure that you've shared your email with me. Let me share mine. Yes, so
Hi, Eben.
hi.
Yeah, so maybe you can take one or two questions and then we can end the session. So even though
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So one or two questions, please, then we end today's session.
Eben.
Yes, Victoria.
Yeah, please, I want to find out if we have any challenges. Can we reach out to you?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all about empowering you. So you can reach out at any time. I've shared my email with you as well.
Okay, thank you.
One more question, please.
Hi, Eben.
Yes, please.
Please, when we're talking about the procurement policy, is there
Yes.
something about signing a contract with the supplier? So I want to ask, let's say the goods that you want to buy is worth 200 cedis. Must you necessarily sign a contract with the supplier?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. So, as I mentioned, these policies are also based on your internal practice. And 200 is too small an amount, right, to sign a contract. Usually, I mean, you can define that maybe above 10,000 cedis. I'm signing a contract with this person, so that you know that even if the amount is 10,000 cedis, 50 pesos, you have to sign a contract. You can discuss that with your directors as well. If they say 5,000, you don't have an issue, right? But mostly it's with huge amounts. All right.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So, if there is no question, I would like to hand over to the host. Probably then communication will be made to you guys as and when. But today you will receive the needs assessment. I'll share with you guys and you answer it and submit it. Everything will be communicated via email. So you get to know, please.
Okay, hi Eben and hi everyone. So I think today's session has been very successful and I think we don't have much to say on the platform. If there's any information, we'll send it by email and I think that will be that. Thank you very much for being part of today's session and we hope to see you in the next session.